Well, welcome everybody to another Workshop Wednesday, casual conversations for serious workflows, brought to you by School of Bookkeeping, where it's keeping you learning QuickBooks your way. And as you may notice, Rachel's not here, but we do have filling in. Oh, you're over here. Filling in for Rachel again is Chloe from Relay. Hi, Chloe. How are you?
Hello, Dan. Thank you so much for having me again today. So happy to be here. Big shoes to fill with Rachel being absent, but I'm so excited to chat.
Rachel is in Las Vegas. It seems to be the place to have conferences these days.
Yeah.
But she's at a Shopify conference. So Shop Talk is where she's at, and since she's focused primarily for e-commerce inventory, that just makes sense for her to go. So obviously, we're not going to be doing a workshop from Las Vegas. We tried that once, and actually didn't turn out too bad. She found a Starbucks to try to be quiet, but it's hard. I mean, going to conferences. I mean, you could probably speak to all the conferences you've been to. It's go 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 all the time, right? It's trying to find and carve out time for something is pretty impossible, right?
Yeah, it's go, go, go. And it's also so lovely seeing faces that you usually only see on the screen. So sometimes you'll stop at a Starbucks to answer some emails, hop into a webinar, and then you see somebody that you want to go say hi, you want to chat with them. So I find myself in my hotel room, like answering emails really quickly at the end of the night, but that's kind of as far as you can go. So
Yeah.
hopefully she's having a great time though.
Yeah, and you think by going to Las Vegas, I mean, there's all those things that you can do there, but it's trying to work as you're going to attend a conference is quite challenging.
Yeah.
So, speaking of challenging, so we've been talking. We've talked with Chloe before about kind of like the foundational aspect of Relay, and now we want to take it a little bit deeper into the different tiers of Relay. And before we get into that, I wanted to talk about a new announcement here. So let me share my screen and we'll talk about this here. So we have something that we're trying to do here at School of Bookkeeping is adding on power-ups, right? So there are things that you can add on to QuickBooks Online or desktop, and it gets more out of your experience, right? Because especially with QuickBooks Online, some of those things, those deep workflows, is really in the shallow end of the pool, and sometimes you need more than that. So we've been working with folks like Relay and other power ups, as we're calling them, where as you add on power ups onto your QuickBooks through our unique referral and partnership with these apps and add-ons, then you unlock essentially you unlock benefits at School of Bookkeeping. So for example, if you add one power up, you get a 30-day trial of Quick Answers, which is allowing you to bypass Intuit and talk to somebody who's been with Intuit for nearly 18 years, right? Like me, right? So who wouldn't want that for 30 days?
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. And then you can stack these things. So if you add two power ups, you get more in QuickBook. In School of Bookkeeping. So you would get a 90-day trial of Quick Answers for 2 power-ups and a 30 or 60-day trial of our course library. If you add 3, then you get 1 hour of what we call private tutoring. So anything that you want to talk about for an hour, you can book time on my calendar, and we'll work through it together. If you add 4 plus, you get 3 hours. So it's really a way that you can um, enhance your QuickBooks Online experience, but also get more support for it as well. So you don't necessarily have to bundle, your QuickBooks subscription with School of Bookkeeping, although you can. So if you already have a a QuickBooks Online subscription, you can just add these things um, through our links here. So I am trying to talk and click at the same time. And there it is. Okay, I wanted to share the Power Ups QR code. So if you're watching online, you can just whip out your phone and get to this website. The other thing that we wanted to mention is that voting for the top 100 advisor is open. Uh, I believe Rachel is on this list. I know I am. So if you haven't voted, there's 2 people to vote for. Rachel and myself.
There we go.
Who else would it be, right? But there is a QR code for that. I did already put it in the comments, so the link is there on wherever we happen to be located, or wherever you're watching. In the comment section, that link should be there. Voting is only open or closes. The last day to vote is 4/28, so it's open now. So it's about a month that you have to vote for that. So that is just our announcements that we wanted to talk about before we dive into today's topic, which is taking your money movement to the next level. Or in this case, it's more than just having all of your eggs in one basket. Because Chloe, when we kind of ended our last workshop, the positioning of Relay, you talked a little bit about how it's not just like you're switching banks, right? When you're adding Relay into the mix, it's more of adding to, right? So talk a little bit about where Relay falls in terms of just business banking in general when a business is considering adding Relay.
Yeah, so that's such a great question. When we talk about Relay and introduce the idea of Relay to different kinds of business owners, a lot of the times, whether you're a brand new business owner, whether you've been in business for 5 years, whether you've been in business for 25 years, you kind of already have operations in place. And sometimes things are going wonderfully, sometimes things aren't. Sometimes 80% of your tech stack is great and smooth and efficient, and then the 20% could be a little bit better. So the reason why we don't really like to say switch banks and more so implementing Relay as a solution is because there's so many different features of Relay that can really help streamline your tech stack, can help save you time, save you tons of fees, whether it's for bill pay, whether it's for accounts receivable, whether it's for expense management tools, or using a debit card, or whatever the feature may be. Relay is a really great tool to kind of implement and use it for a specific case. A lot of the times, not to be biased, but people will use Relay, realize that it's so lovely, and then start to implement other features on the platform as well. But the starter plan of Relay is completely free. So there's no consequence. There's no minimum account balance requirements. There's no monthly fees, nothing like that. So a lot of the times when you find a feature that really works with what your operations existing already, that's when Relay kind of comes into the picture.
Yeah, because it's like, and I think we had kind of talked about, changing banks, or that triggering event that a lot of people would potentially have to look for an alternative banking solution. Is something that happens at the bank to annoy you,
Yes,
right?
and don't get me wrong, we've worked with tons of business owners that have unfortunately said, "I am so tired of my existing brick and mortar a bank. I'm ready to, come to Relay. Everything is aligning. This looks amazing for me and my business, and we're ready to welcome you with open arms." But it's not just for those people. It's also for somebody who everything's working great. 80% of everything is perfect, but how can we tweak that 20% to give you time back, to better your work life balance, give you more time with your family, maybe save you a few $100 every month? And that's where we can also really come in strong for you guys.
Yeah. So so it's something that uh, offers very little friction to get started with, because your starter plan is completely free, right? So it is a great way for a business to evaluate um, if Relay would be a workable solution for whatever it is that they're doing. And to your point, as you talked about last time, the starter version has um, has everything in it. Like, there's not anything that you can't do. You can just do things a little bit faster or better in those different tiers, and we'll talk about those different tiers a little bit later. But
Yeah.
it offers a great way to get started with adding a complementary solution to something that you already have, because um, you know, and we just want to talk about QuickBooks in a little bit, and Intuit, where they their strength, right, is you get more out of your QuickBooks when you add on these money movement types of solutions, right? They could be payroll, they could be um, bill payment, there could be QuickBooks payments where your money coming in, right? The integration piece that they have, that's their advantage, right? So adding on those services inside of QuickBooks, you're going to get a lot more um, options than you can with an outside service. But the flip side
Yeah.
of that is you have all of your eggs in one basket, right? Everything that's moving money, whether that's money to your employees, or money to your suppliers, or money from your customers. That's a lot of um, pressure, I guess, is probably the easiest way to put it, when when you're dealing with um, when you're dealing with the these business services, and you're dealing with potentially other people's money, whether it be your employees or your or your vendors. You want to make sure that that money movement happens when you want it to happen. And if that doesn't happen for one of the money movement services, that could potentially soil the experience for all of the money movement services, right? And that could even cause people to go away from QuickBooks, right? If there is a hold, for example, on your account for payments, and that also affects your payroll and your bill pay, that potentially could cause people to leave the whole ecosystem of QuickBooks. So, bottom line, or the point I'm trying to get here, is that having an alternative money movement solution like Relay in your arsenal, or in your toolbox, allows people to pivot pretty quickly, so that they don't have so then they're not dead in the water, right? So um, how is that how does that go with where Relay's philosophy is with regards to money movement?
Yeah. So primarily, Relay has essentially built their own API directly into integrations like QuickBooks Online and Xero. And the reason why we've done that is most banking platforms will use a third party to connect to a payroll software or an accounting software. And a lot of the times that's going to cause broken bank feeds, it's going to cause disconnects, and it's going to cause you ultimately as the business owner or as the advisor to kind of come in and reconnect it and just kind of not waste, but use up a little bit of your time that could be used elsewhere. With Relay, we offer a ton of incredible, amazing features that you can do all within the platform. But like we've talked about at the beginning of the call, a lot of the times you have systems set up in QuickBooks, you have, your Gusto set up, your deck set up, all the wonderful, amazing features. So Relay has made it really easy to integrate with these features with our API so that you can do what you're used to doing, that is what is already working well for you through QuickBooks Online and your other softwares. But then on the Relay front, it's integrating through your checking and savings accounts. But then we also have those other features available for you as well, so that if the time comes, if you're ready to try out a new feature, the cost efficiency is there because, like we said, the core banking is completely free at Relay. So we kind of just make it really easy for you to try out new things as a business owner. When you don't already have too much time, we're just giving you that time back and potentially even giving you some savings back too.
Yeah. Now one of the coolest features of Relay is the no fee structure, right? Where you have, you start out in starter. There's no cost. There's no minimum balance. There's no fee to just have the for the luxury of having an account, which is what I get from Chase, or what I had from Chase, I should say, because they're beyond. They're in another category right now. They're former bank. But your Relay's model, right, is that you have that starter with no fees, no minimum balance, but then you have when you need more, and we'll talk about what that more needs are. When you need more, there's a tiered service offering that you can upgrade to that allows you to get more. So let's talk about the two tiers. We kind of mentioned them a little bit in the last time. So what are the different tiers of where there is a platform fee, I guess is the best way to describe it, right?
Yeah, so Relay is designed to grow with you as a business. You start for free, and then you're able to unlock more advanced workflows as you grow your business, as your clientele gets more complex. And there's three main tiers, like Dan mentioned. We have the starter tier, completely free, and then we have the grow, and then the scale tier. And it kind of just comes down to what level of automation or control that you need. It's not about the prices of what you're unlocking. It's more about the automations and time savings.
Got it. So you have a really neat utility, I guess, that Relay offers, which is essentially a savings calculator, which I'm going to share here really shortly. Here, if I can, there we go.
Yes.
And we'll have this, available. It's in the comments. There's links in the comments. And did I make a QR code for that? I did. I did, but
the best.
No, but calculato with an R on
calculator.
But there's the Relay savings calculator there. So talk us through what this is and how people can use it.
Yes. Okay. So this used to be something that existed internally, and we decided this is amazing. We need to make this public for our users. This focuses a lot more on the cost side of things. It's still phenomenal, but I do want to preface by saying on the back end that grow and scale come with a lot more AI insights and forecasting and automations, whereas a subscription calculator. Sorry, now I'm pulling a Dan and forgetting the O. But the subscription calculator that we've built for you here is focusing on the cost savings. So what you're essentially doing,
which is really what accountants and bookkeepers are looking for, right?
And a lot of the times that's the primary focus, of course. So what this looks like is you're basically able to adjust this calculator based on your book. So as Dan is doing, let's say you have 300,000, 366,000 in assets
Right.
under management. It's kind of fun to play around with that.
Mhm.
You're doing a certain amount of domestic wires per month, a certain amount of international. You're doing a certain amount of same day ACH transfers. I want to also mention next day ACH is completely free. So this one is just depends. I know that there's some people out there that you might be in a pickle and needs to settle on the same day. 3 is a really great number. And then you have a Relay credit card and you're spending, I see here, $2,000 a month and you're getting 1.5% cash back on that. So Relay calculator will essentially kind of spit out the best quote unquote bang for your buck.
Mhm.
And kind of just tell you from a pricing perspective and an interest perspective what you're going to essentially net monthly per month. So with our scale tier, it is $90 a month, but after paying the $90, you're still going to net $650 a month after all your costs. So I know a lot of the times business banks aren't really offering APY, whereas Relay's offering that 2.68 plus the cash back on your credit. So you're going to actually make money by using your Relay account.
Yeah.
In some cases, if you're in a different situation and your assets under management might be a little bit smaller, maybe you're sending less wires, maybe you're doing less on your credit spend, it's also going to show you, okay, for your business, because we're still growing, the best bang for your buck for this would be starter. So it's always just going to tell you what makes the most sense. It also did a blend of Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and City here to kind of tell you how much you'd be spending based on minimum account balance requirements, based on wires, based on fees, all that fun stuff. And it still kind of give you a little bit of a difference there based off our pricing.
Yeah, I mean that is um, pretty ballsy, right? To actually put yourself up against the big banks, right? And in comparison to that, and I can, I mean, that's the one thing that when I was talking with small business owners and accountants working at Intuit, and people, especially people who are on the side hustle type of thing, growing into a business, fees were a significant concern because maybe they were working in Venmo or PayPal as far as getting money to and from their customers, and they would skirt the terms of service by calling it friends and family to avoid the fees, right? So they tend to look at these fees as, oh, that's now eating into my profit margin by having to pay all these fees, and they look for ways to get around that, right? Um, so this offers and then they are, well, you need a business bank account to do X or that or this, that, or the other thing, and so they go and look at a traditional bank, and just to have an account, there's a there's a base fee, and then if you fall below a certain dollar amount, there's a low balance fee, and then there's a balance transfer fee, and all of those other fees that any opportunity for a bank to charge a fee, it just seemed like the business people got the short straw on those things because, okay, a personal checking, they didn't have those fees, and now just because they're a business, now they have to pay more fees to do these things. But to compare yourself with those big banks, and put yourself right up against them is I applaud Relay for putting themselves out there to do this. And it reminded me of you know uh, prior to working at Intuit, I sold water treatment systems door to door in the desert of Arizona, and they had this. At the end of the presentation, they kind of wrap things up and calling it a road of life, where you have a plan A and you have a plan B, and plan A is what you're doing today, and plan B is, of course, buying this $4,000 water treatment system. And so we talked about, on plan A, here's what you're doing to treat your water chemically, right? You're treating your water with, all these harsh chemicals, fabric softeners, and all that stuff. You're buying bottled water to drink. Here so there's a monthly expense for doing that. And then the other option is you can purchase the system, and now you don't have to buy those things. So you're basically taking what you already are spending and put it into something else, investing it into your home, right? So we call that the road of life. And so you have a plan A, which was you pay for it and you don't have it, or a plan B is you pay for it and you have it, right? So this is very similar to that, where if you go with a big bank, you're paying for Relay, but you don't have it. Whereas if you go with Relay, you pay for it and you have it, and you have all these things. And even better is you're saving money in the long run, because you're not having to pay all those nickels and dimes that the big banks are and will charge you.
Yeah. I love that analogy, Dan. I think that's awesome. And I would love to see you in that water treatment days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as a business owner, there's a lot of things that you can't really get around when you're paying your vendors, or specific ways that they want to be paid when you're receiving funds from customers, or specific ways that you're receiving those as well. When it comes to expenses that you're putting on your credit card, a lot of things that you can't really control, but what you can control are systems like this that you can implement, and you can really just make the most out of. And like we talked about, the subscription calculator is a really kind of great way to just make sure that you're within your own operations, choosing a system that makes the most sense for you. Just a small tip, we did small math, and usually if your assets under management are above 60,000, that's when the 90 gets offset, the $90 for the scale, and that's when you start generating interest on top of that. So just a small little golden nugget that we like to tell our clients. But it's really nice to kind of see that net monthly benefit come in month over month, especially when you've been keeping those assets in an alternative account and not generating any interest, and paying for a minimum account balance requirement, and paying for a monthly fee, and paying double the price on wires. And I can keep going, but I'll give the
Right.
I'll stop there.
We want to end the workshop this today.
Yeah, we will have a
leave,
slumber party until tomorrow. Yeah.
And then also another benefit is going through a partner like School of Bookkeeping, the referral link through us. There is actually a discount on these fees, right?
Yes. So if you're coming on a Relay, if you're joining Relay through one of our partners, you do get a discount to the Grow and the Scale tier. Not only are you getting the discount, but there's tons of other amazing features, pricing that unlocks that's not available to you if you signed up through the website. One of those things is a $50 welcome bonus that kind of comes in right away. You also get matched with a VIP onboarding support specialist to help you in setting up your account, and just give you that VIP support, that human-centric kind of support as well. You're automatically matched with higher transaction limits, faster settlement times. So it's a really, really kind of great way to make sure that you're given a warm welcome into Relay.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these this fee comparison on your savings calculator, and you can see, the advantage of going with the Scale over Grow or Starter if you do these things, right? Like if the juice, if the squeeze is worth the juice, or the juice worth the squeeze, you can determine which is best. But I know, fast money movement is now, the thing, right? Especially if, this worst case scenario of something happens with your payroll, for example, and you need to pay your employees right away, right? If this allows you to do that very quickly, do a same day ACH, for your, your 10 employees, there's no cost to do that. If, if you do that, if there's 20 employees, then it's $1 per. But I know same day money movement with anything else is way more than $1, per transaction, and that's, everything that moves money, offers you a fast money movement, but it's typically what, like 1%, and then maybe it's capped, but maybe it's not, right? So if you're, same daying, $10,000, that's now $100 fee, as opposed to, something that might just cost you $1 here.
Exactly. Like I mentioned earlier, it really kind of comes down to also where you are in your business. We cater Relay to so many different kinds of businesses and so many different kinds of paces within that business. So, like we mentioned, we do want to grow with you. And as you start growing your business, you have more employees, you might need more approval rules, you might need more automations. That's where kind of grow and scale also come in to help with those. Um, and then in turn, it's also going to help with the pricing as well.
And then when I first heard of Relay, the first thing that, of more services that was available was the whole payables bill pay. And I use it myself, and the synchronization and the between QuickBooks Online and Relay, it's instantaneous, or there's a button that just says refresh, and then your bills show up, and then you can go move to pay them. But now you guys are getting into expense management and invoicing. So talk a little bit about those new-ish features. And I don't want to say they're new features, but they've been around for a while. But talk about that in the future of where Relay's going.
Yes. So I have to give a major shout out to our product team at Relay. I've never seen harder workers really kind of working towards listening to your feedback and implementing different kind of features to support your workflows. So on top of that, Dan, our bill pay feature used to be part of our grow tier, used to be $30 a month, but we've actually put that on starter now. So now you can integrate your bill pay with QuickBooks, pay bills directly on the platform, and sync them right into QuickBooks Online. It's an accountant and bookkeeper's dream, as also the business owner, but had to kind of mention that too. In terms of some newer features that we've implemented, so AR, accounts receivable, has been a huge focus on us for the end of 2025. We're so proud to have released the invoicing feature on Relay, so you can actually generate invoices, create them completely for free. You can include your brand. You can include specific line items. You can include discounts, include tax, all the things. You can even attach a payment request with that invoice and choose different kinds of ways of how you'd be paid. There's credit and debit cards. There is Pay by Bank, which is just a direct ACH through Plaid. You can pay by wire, and you can also just send information to pay via ACH as well. So all different kind of things that you can send with along the invoice. You can track the invoices. Once the invoice is paid, it's going to also integrate directly into QuickBooks Online. So really, really great way to streamline your invoicing, keep track of your invoicing, and also very cost friendly as well. On the flip side, we've introduced expense management too. This is more of a goodie for the advisors that might be listening into this. So it's actually going to use AI to auto-categorize the QuickBooks category and the QuickBooks vendor for you. And it's essentially a way to kind of clean the books before they even hit the books. You can set up specific categorization rules too. So it's kind of going to be like a command control center for all transactions within Relay. And then once you can kind of take a look and make sure that they look good, you can sync them into QuickBooks Online, and they'll be ready to be reconciled for you there in QuickBooks.
Yeah, one of the really cool things that I experienced with Relay was the ability to just whip out a virtual card. Is there a limit to the number of virtual cards that you can create, or it depends on the plan?
No. You can basically generate as many cards as you please. Just try not to break the system.
Well,
But
here's the advantage, right? So I think it was last Scaling New Heights. I participated in a breakout session that was talking about, advising for spend management, like you mentioned, for the spend management. Now they were using another platform, but I can see this. I can see Relay being this potential solution as well. So
yeah,
what they were doing is they were using this other platform to create virtual cards and putting a spending limit on the virtual card per expense transaction, right? So they would essentially whip out a virtual card for their phone bill, for example, and they would put a spending limit of the typical, a little bit buffer, right? So if it was, $500 a month, they would put a spending limit of 550, right? So phone companies are pretty um, famous for just jacking up their fees or changing their fee structure without um, expressed written consent of the NFL or the or the business owner. They may have notified them, but maybe they didn't realize, right? So
yeah,
what it allows people to do is to create specific cards for specific purchases, which all feed into the main, account that you've tied them to. So there's no, extra challenge of, reconciling all of these things. But the what they did is, because of that spending limit, if that expense that would be auto charged on that one virtual card exceeded the spending limit, it would get declined, right? So there would be a notification of, hey, this didn't go through, which would then allow them to look into, well, why did it go through? Why didn't it go through? Well, it exceeded the spending limit. It went up, $100. Well, now there's a conversation that needs to happen with the phone company. Why did our bill go up so much? Then they can easily go in, adjust the spending limit, let it go through, and then now they're in control of their spending, as opposed to that charge automatically goes through on a credit card and then doesn't get noticed that it's higher until they're looking at some kind of report, which that could be a long time down the road before that actually
yeah.
happens. So do you have other advisors or clientele that do that sort of thing with Relay?
Yeah, I mean, we can have another webinar talking about our cards feature because it's so amazing. We hear stories like that, Dan, all the time, where you generate cards for different purposes, for subscriptions, for office bills, and all the things. And not only does it help you catch real time increases and real time kind of off transactions that you would never catch, if you didn't have the system, but it also allows you to keep track of these transactions a lot easier. And maybe if you're spending a lot in subscriptions, maybe take a second look and kind of say, I don't need to Disney Plus this month. I already have all the other ones. So it kind of just like really forces that eye. Even beyond that, we've heard so many stories about how these cards really help business owners. Another example is one business owner that was working. He owned a construction firm. He decided to delegate different cards for gas for his different contractors, his different employees. So each of his 15 employees had their own gas card, but he set vendor and category restrictions so that the only time this debit card would be approved was at the gas station, was getting gas. And so you might not, as a business owner, you're not really realizing, but, somebody's going to get gas, they're going into the gas station and they're getting a Red Bull, they're getting themselves a chocolate bar. And something that seems so minuscule at the end of the year, you look back, and this construction firm owner, the year before, his accountant let him know that all these miscellaneous charges from these types of transactions led up to around $2,500. So
Wow.
by doing this and putting these vendor restrictions on, having them only be able to use the card specifically to fill up the tank of gas, really saved him money at the end of the year. and just really kind of helped him have eyes on that as well. And then the one other one that I want to mention is from a fraud perspective. A lot of the times when you're generating cards for different purposes, you're able to again set specific category restrictions, vendor restrictions, spending restrictions, and really kind of take control into that card. Whereas if you're running a business and you have one card for everything, there's probably hundreds of transactions going through every single month. And do you really want to sit down and go through every single one to think, hey, is this a real transaction? This $3 here and this $3 there. And it's always the little transactions that add up because they know that they're not going to get caught. Whereas with these, it really minimizes that risk with fraud. Another great feature about our cards is that you can also log into the platform and you can freeze and terminate cards in real time. So if you notice that you lost your card, if there's an employee with your card that maybe shouldn't have it, you can just go into the app, freeze the card, terminate it, instead of having to be on hold with somebody for like 2 hours trying to get that card stopped. Meanwhile, they're tapping the card everywhere they can get it. Yeah.
Exactly. So
exactly.
You got some guardrails or boundaries built in to safeguard your clients using these services. So, Chloe, thank you for joining us again on another workshop. If you haven't gotten enough of Chloe, she will be joining us next month on the QB Power Hour. So we'll be talking, kind of recapitulating the things that we talked about here on the workshops, but in a little bit more presentational format. We'll actually have slides and all that stuff. It's not as casual as as the workshops are here. So look forward to having you on the QuickBooks Power Hour, and the next month, and next week we are going to have Method, one of the other Power Up folks that we were just talking about. They're going to be coming on because we had talked about the Intuit Accountant Suite and how it's expanding into practice management. We'll talk about what you can do or how you can utilize Method as an accounting practice management tool as well. So they'll be joining us for another casual conversation about that. So look forward to seeing you then. Chloe, any closing thoughts?
No, that was such a great conversation. I'm so excited to be back next month and kind of talk a little bit more and dive a little bit deeper. But thank you so much for having me.
All right. We will see you all on the workshop Wednesday, and hopefully everybody has a great day.
Thank you.